Hey everyone, I am Anthony Scott at ToyHapUSA.com. Today we are taking a look at the third subscription box from FanHome of their Iron Man model build-up figure that stands at 24 inches tall and features LED lights and tons of articulation and detail. Inside this box are issues 7 through 10, each with their own bag of components to build Iron Man. And as you can see, each one of these magazines are numbered on the upper right-hand side, and there's different artwork on each one that we're going to take a closer look at. I would like to thank FanHome for providing this box for review. Greatly appreciate that. Here's a group shot of the 4 bags that are included. Each side are different parts to build Iron Man, and we're going to take a closer look at that. With this box, which is the third box in the Iron Man subscription, you get a free gift. So just like R2-D2, this Iron Man figure comes with a number of posters that are inside here. They are enclosed in a plastic wrap, which you see there. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the plastic wrapping, and this front part here is just a folder where the posters are kept inside. First poster, which you see here, is a really nice group shot of a ton of Marvel characters, including Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, completely buffed up, Captain America, Ghost Rider, Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and Thor, which you see here. The quality on this is very nice. And you can even get this framed. So get it framed, put it on your wall. It's definitely worth displaying. Up next is Hulkbuster Iron Man. And as you can see here, he's fighting an opponent, his arm sticking out of the ground. And the last one is Iron Man himself. And in the background, you see Avengers Tower in New York City. So again, with the posters, if you keep your subscription going, at least through the first 3 boxes, you will get that poster with the folder, the 3 posters inside, and that's a bonus gift. So very nice. Moving on to magazine issue number 7. This has a different cover compared to other magazines. You have a look at the parts that are going to be built inside. Good image of Iron Man there on the cover. And the title of this is Discover the History of Iron Man. They're continuing with more articles like that. On the left-hand side, you have the table of contents. On the right is the beginning of the articles. Some great classic comic books right here. Great artwork from back in the day. So with this one, you're going to be using bag number 7. And in here, you have all the parts you need. Plus, you're going to be starting assembly. So here's your look there. It looks like you're going to be using the elbow joint from the previous box and adding it to this. So make sure to have that elbow joint handy when you're ready to start the build. And on here, this is telling you where everything goes, how it's all connected. A lot of really good, useful information here. Article continued. And a look at his space armor, which is actually one of my favorite armors that you really don't see too often. And of course, you have a look at the back of the magazine with a look at Iron Man Volume 1, issue number 28 from November 1979, and a look at what's coming in the next issue, which you see right there. So just to show you, this is bag number 7 that's associated with this magazine. And each one is numbered, which you see right up there, 007. So it specifies which parts you're going to be using. What I'm going to do now is assemble this, and let's take a closer look. All right, so assembly is complete, and here's a look at the fully assembled right forearm with the elbow joint. As you can see, the articulation works. You're just basically going to screw that in there and assemble these three pieces on this one here. Very nice quality metal, metallic and gold deco. Very nice done. And for assembly, again, these are the parts inside bag number 7. You're going to be using those two different kinds of screws. And that's where the joint's going to go. There's a look there. Just attach those three pieces. And then you're going to be attaching the elbow joint used in the previous magazine. And here is another view at that, just giving you a look. So now we are moving on to issue number 8. Here's a look at issue 8. You see the number 8 on the upper right hand side there, as well as the parts that are going to be used to assemble in this issue. There's also different Iron Man artwork on the cover. Inside, you have the table of contents and the first article. Classic artwork of Iron Man facing off against another Avenger, Hawkeye. Sorry, the magazine came a little bent inside the box, but here's a look at the more of that article there. More retro artwork. And halfway through, here's a look at all the assembly, the parts that you're going to be using to make this assembly, where it's going to be connected right here. So you're going to be working on the right forearm as stated up here. And we're going to go through this in a moment. There's another view at that. And another article. Let's get this to stand right. Another article of Iron Man, 6 Decades of Metal. I strongly recommend you guys taking the time to read through it. A lot of really good information in these articles. They definitely worked hard, and my recommendation would be to read them. And the Hydro Armor, another one of my favorites. So just like the Space Armor, you don't see the Hydro Armor too much anymore. And here's a look at the back of the magazine. The comic is Avengers Volume 1, issue number 77 from November 1978. Excuse me, number 177. And a look at what's coming on in the next issue here. And once you once you're ready, there's a look at the magazine and the parts you're going to be using. This is number 8, which specifies on the upper right hand side 008 up there. So what I'm going to do now is work on the assembly, and let's take a closer look. The assembly for the right forearm is completed, and here is a closer look at that. As you can see, both sides are screwed on. Great detail, and it's really coming together nicely. See how the articulation still works. There's still a lot more to go with Iron Man. And with bag number 8, these are all the parts you're going to be using. 3 different kinds of screws. And here is your look at the instructions. Make sure to really take your time and watch carefully on here. Just make sure as you assemble it, that looks like that. It is a little confusing, so really take your time. And the next page gives you another look at all the assembly, the steps you're going to be taking, and that's what it's going to look like once it's assembled onto Iron Man. All right, so now we're going to move on to magazine number 9. Here's a look at bag number 9 that's associated with this magazine. These are all the parts for assembly, and you see where it's numbered right up there. The magazine itself has an image of Iron Man with the armor being placed on him. And opening this up, you have the table of contents and a look at the first article inside this issue with some nicely done retro comic book art. Halfway through, you're going to see the steps associated with this issue, and we're going to take a closer look at that. And this is a continuation of the right form. And there's a look at it once it's completely assembled. Continuing this issue, you see many different kinds of the armor on here. The Iron Ninja. And here's a bunch of different armors. And here's a look at the back. This issue is Volume 1, number 224 from October 1982. And a look at the next issue. So what I'm going to do now is assemble this, and let's take a closer look. All right, so assembly is complete, and this one was very easy, straightforward. This piece just snaps right onto here, and this elbow piece just snaps right into here. And these two snap right on the side here. Taking a closer look at that with the instructions. Here's a look at the 4 pieces you get. As I said, that first piece snaps right into there. Very easy. No screws or anything required with this step. And these 3 pieces connect as shown. And there's a look at that assembled. And on here, you see how this snaps right into there. And you have a completed forearm. So now I'm going to move into issue number 10. We are down to the last magazine in this box. This is issue number 10. So you see the number 10 upper right hand side there, the parts that you're going to be using to assemble on the bottom right, and you see another image of Iron Man right there on the cover. Let's open this up and let's take a closer look. So you see the table of contents on the left and the first article talking about Iron Man 2. You also see a little bit of the whole of armor right there on the bottom. So it's not just the comics, it's also the films. They definitely cover a lot. And it's a great read. I strongly recommend you guys taking the time to take a look. And on this magazine's bent a little bit, so it might take a minute to stand it up. But on this, you're going to be looking at the right shoulder joint, connecting those parts. Right on here, you see all the parts inside the box. And I just forgot to show you, here is bag number 10 with all those parts right here. And you see where it's numbered, MC010. Here's the next page of that, all the assembly. And on here, what I find it very useful is that they have an exploding, look at that, showing you the order it's supposed to go. So that's very helpful. And this is where it's going to go, right in the shoulder joint. It's not going to connect to the arm just yet, so just be aware of that. And on here, you have a new article with the comics. And the back of the magazine gives you a look at the cover of Iron Man vs. Whiplash #1 from January 2010, and a look at what's in the next issue right there. So what I'm going to do now is assemble this, and let's take a closer look. The assembly on this is now complete, and as you can see, this is together. The screw and bolt are in there, and this is on a hinge joint. The felt tips provide a little bit of resistance, so it is a little bit tough to move this, but that's how it's supposed to be. You should be able to, just can't get a good grip. So you saw me move that as shown. On the instructions here, these are the friction discs, excuse me, that's the official name for it. And you're not going to be using all of them. So for now, just put it to the side, put it with your extra parts, don't throw anything out. And here's a closer look at all the pieces that you're going to be using for assembly, including a screw and bolt. You're just going to be using one. And make sure to magnetize your screwdriver once more. For assembly, you're going to be putting these friction discs as shown on the piece there, the little discs. Fairly simple process. And then you're going to be connecting it. And then you're going to be putting the bolt on one side and the screw on the other. I think you'll get a better look here. So on this side, you'll see where the bolt is. It's right in that hexagon shape. And the other side, the screw. So just as it specifies on this exploded view, you see the nut or bolt, well, I guess nut is the official term, and the screw on the other side. And this exploded view really comes in handy, so make sure to look at that closely. That's the assembly of it. And again, that's where it's going to go, right in the shoulder joint, and the arm that you've assembled is not going to connect just yet to the shoulder. So here's another look at the arm. I would like to thank FanHome for providing this for review. Greatly appreciate that. I am Anthony Scott at toyhypeusa.com. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more coverage of FanHome, R2-D2, Iron Man, and Street Fighter.